My name is Josh Whinston. I'm the rabbi at Temple Beth Emeth in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I was born in Indianapolis, Indiana. My parents put me in the preschool at Beth Tzedek. My mom taught there too. I think she must have started teaching when I went into preschool. And I remember those classrooms and like challah and juice running around the synagogue as I got older. After my bar mitzvah, this time I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, and the tradition of that synagogue was to have the bar mitzvah student lead the ashrei the week before the actual bar mitzvah service the next week. The cantor came up to me after the service and said, "Josh, that was the best ashrei I've ever heard anybody chant." In my 13-year-old mind, I was like, "Oh, wow, this is great." He probably said that to everybody, but at the time I thought, "Oh, great. This is wonderful." And I had just a really great experience on the Bima. And I think that's probably when the idea first occurred to me, but I think really didn't solidify for many years. The thing that really surprises me every time it happens is the way that people give me access to their lives in the most intimate moment. It's a really just amazing experience to be able to walk into a person's home after they've given birth or as they're approaching death, a wedding happening. I mean, any sort of the life cycle moments, I don't take that for granted. Again, it surprises me every time. Naps, challah, prayer, a chance to remember life is not about what I make, what I do, the ability to be a human being. One that I've just been sitting with for a while now, Modeh Ani, right? Basically the first thing that we're told to say as we wake up in the morning. Those last few words, Rabbi emunatecha, that I find so powerful. We often talk about our belief in God, right? That's the big conversation that people have. Do you believe in God? The Modeh Ani in those last two words, it's not so worried about our belief in God. It's saying that God believes in us. We thank God for returning our souls each morning, for the ability to live this day. We talk about God's sort of faith in us. That's just a really powerful idea. I really love Shavuot for a variety of reasons. One, the idea of groups of people coming together and studying for any period of time, just gathering together, really Torah Lishma, right? Just to learn. One of the things about Shavuot is how creative our sages had to be with this festival that what do you do with it after the destruction of the temple? And they came up with I think a really meaningful understanding of what Shavuot can be about for us today, with the connection of Shavuot and Matan Torah at Sinai. That is just another sort of inspiring work of how we became the Jews we are today. It's not from my childhood, but my first year of rabbinical school in Jerusalem, I was introduced to Jerusalem kugel, and I had never had that before. I think it's delicious. It's a sort of both savory and sweet kugel that you can find recipes for. It's worth trying to make, and certainly when you go to Jerusalem to get it there. Being Jewish to me is about being connected to an ancient tradition that emphasizes responsibility, that idea that we have a responsibility to each other and between human beings and God. And by that, I mean that in the broadest way you can understand that we have a responsibility to the place around us, to this planet Earth, to our place in this universe. So I try to think of mitzvah in sort of the most expansive way that I can, to take seriously the idea that I was a slave in Egypt, that I know what that means, and that I have a responsibility to protect the widow and the orphan and the stranger, and what we might understand those categories of people to be today, those that would otherwise be voiceless in our society. How can I help raise those voices up? I think that is a profound calling from the Jewish tradition that moves me every day and helps me wake up in the morning and get going. That Judaism calls us to both be mindful of our particular issues and yet not so closed off from the world that we can't see the universal issues that appear around us all the time. Work on your Hebrew. Try out lots of different communities. If you grew up in the Reform movement, go to an Orthodox synagogue, go to a conservative synagogue, Reconstructionist, whatever, and vice versa. If you grew up in a conservative synagogue, try out other synagogues. See what other Jews are doing besides what's happening at the synagogue that you're a part of right now. We live in a, I think, really exciting time for Judaism. Things are changing. Things are on the move. And we're going to need great, strong, passionate leaders into the future for a Judaism that continues to evolve. And to know that the work you do makes an impact on people's lives. It's just a wonderful job to have and a lifestyle to have. Continue to explore and learn and grow and enjoy the process. I love to go camping. I try to go into the backcountry a few times a year. I don't know when I'm going to do this, but I really want to go camping alone. I've always just gone with other people, but there's a part of me that is totally freaked out by and completely so interested in going on a solo camping trip. Sleeping in the woods a day or two or more distance from other people, I imagine what terrifies most people, but for me, that there's something really exciting about that idea. So we'll leave that. One of the things that I most appreciate about our tradition is that it is both serious. It's a very serious tradition, thinking about serious ideas, ways of being in this world, ways of living in this world, and I think is exceptionally fun as well. I try to keep it sort of central in my mind and help guide me as I live in my rabbinate and the work that I do. So I want to be serious and have lots of fun all at the same time.